Now we've got Amrit Mathur joining us in the studio. Harish Tawani joins us live from Mumbai. Before I get into the merits and demerits of this particular deal, it's going to be an exciting discussion. I'm looking forward to it. Before that, Amrit, I'll have these graphics up on our screen. This is really interesting, and I'd love you to talk through this. You know, this is the digital rights which Facebook actually had the highest bid at 3,900 crore. And then we'll have the highest bidder as far as TV rights is concerned, that's Sony at 11,000 odd crores. But together, if you combine it, wasn't close to the 16,000 odd crores that Star put. Interestingly, in the individual bids, Star bid really, really low as far as digital and TV is concerned. So I don't know if the right package is worth it or not, but someone there must be complimented in the Star office for coming up with the strategy of going with a global bid, since they were the only player there in a combined bid. What would you say?
Well, I think it appears that Star had placed this game very cleverly, and if you break down the numbers, the digital numbers are very interesting.
Yes.
Till now, the digital numbers for the last 3 years went for 100 crores a year, and now the figure on the screen is almost 800 crores a year. So that's an astonishing jump. It also shows how digital has grown and what the potential is going forward. So I think that's a very interesting number. And
sorry, would you say that in that sense, because I was just looking at Star's individual bids, they just bid 1,000 odd for digital, and 6,000 odd for TV, that would be what, 7,000 odd, but in a combined bid they bid straight up 16,000.
Yeah, I think that's what they've done very cleverly, because if you were to break down and go the other way, then they perhaps would have lost to Sony. But I think the numbers are big, but not astonishing.
Oh, you wouldn't say
in the sense that they were anticipated. Everybody knew the market was much bigger, the numbers had to go up. But when you look at it, it means the board now makes a profit of 2,000 crores a year from the IPL. They share 50% of this money with the teams. So 2,000 goes to the teams and 2,000 goes to the BCCI. So it actually changes the economics and the health of each team, which till now are maybe not making money, or maybe just close to breaking even. But now in one stroke, they are hugely profitable. So they'd be happy. They'd be the ones who would be, happy about this more than the BCCI.
Okay. You said the figures are not astonishing. I mean, you expected these kind of figures. Let's go across to Harish, who joins us, someone who's seen all sides of bidding for any sort of Indian cricket. Harish, tell us, you were, I think, when you held the rights for Indian cricket, you were paying about, what, 32 crores per India match, if I'm not mistaken. It's now gone to an IPL match at 55 crores. Do you think it's worth it? People sitting in that office in Star who made that decision, were they right on the money, or do you think they faltered there?
I think the bids are interesting from 3 points of view. Firstly, Star, I think, employed the best tenets of game theory and also studied the tender to see what structure of bid stood the best chance of succeeding. I think it's been commented on that their global bid was 16,000 odd crores, but the sum of the parts was merely 7,000 something. It's interesting. I wonder whether that's an inadvertent error in the tender, because the sum of the parts should normally add up to the whole. But having spotted the opportunity to do bidding strategy in an interesting way, I think they sensibly put down a staggering global bid. If you look at the Sony TV bid of 11,000 crores, and let's assume for a moment that the reasons why Star's bid, individual breakups of the bids, are only to make sure that the sum of the parts don't win, and that in their minds the real value of TV is much higher. When you look at Sony's 11,000 crores bid, it's, I think, only 10% above the consensus figure. I myself had gone on record last week to say approximately 1.5, 1.6 billion for India TV is probably the outside limit of rationality. So I'm not staggered by the 11,000 number placed on TV. I am staggered by the 3,900 number on digital, and I think that it's come out only out of one of two reasons. Two of the bidders in the 3,000 crore plus range were mobile telcos, and for them, I think they would subsume these costs into cost of customer acquisition. So it's not based on advertising rationale or subscription rationale. Facebook's number, 3,900 crores, only Facebook can tell us why they valued at 3,900 crores. If I was Uday Shankar, I have an interesting take on this. And considering that Star valued the digital India rights at about 1,000 odd crores, I would look at 3,900 crores of Facebook and say, do I think that I can push them up to 4,500 and tomorrow morning sell them the digital rights? Consequently, bringing down Star's TV exposure to approximately 11,000 crores, which includes global TV and global digital, which they can go out and subsell for about 1,000, 1,500 crores. Because I think the small bids for the different territories are underbid. Because there was not too much competition. So Star's cost could come down to 10,000 crores for TV. Which is a very good number.
That's a great suggestion that you've offered to the Star network. But let's assume that they don't plan to, resell those bids to the other parties. Let's assume they stick on to that, be it TV and digital. Now tell us, 16,000 odd crores that they've bid for 5 years. Do you see any rationale in that? Do you think they can recover that sort of money?
I see the rationale in the TV component at around 11,000. I don't see the rationale in digital at 4,000 crores. But Uday and his team are very smart people. I have a lot of respect for them. And I think in the days to come, they'll reveal what their strategy is going to be.
Amrit, I'm going to come to you because I was just looking at Sony's number. I'm just looking at TV and he says, 100,000 odd crores is fine for TV. I mean, 900 odd crores is what Sony was spending, 800 odd crores for TV rights. I think 100 crore was their production, advertising and all of that put together. And they were just about breaking even in those last 10 years. I was looking at some years they've done more than 1,000 crores, some years they've fallen short. So in about, if you take, they're just about break even. We'll have that graphic also up on the screen. When they're just about doing that sort of business, now you've taken it to 16,000 odd crore. I know digital is going to be big, but will it be that big? Have they, hedged their bets correctly?
Listen, as of now, Star owns practically everything. They own the India rights, they own the IPL rights, they have the ICC rights. So they're like a monopoly control over the major properties of world cricket.
So they're looking at intangibles, you're saying, things that come along with just pure numbers.
You talked of their bid for the Indian rights, which is 40 odd crores a game. That ends in December. So maybe they'll shed that. Maybe it's that doesn't work anyway. I don't think anybody is making 42 crores from a game.
That's very interesting. I'm going to get Harish's view on that. Harish, very interesting here. Actually, Uday was asked this in the press conference and he sidestepped that particular question. Will they continue to bid for India rights after this 16,000 odd crores for IPL? You think India rights is something that they'll have to let go?
Can I preface my answer by first commenting on your 920 crores estimate of Sony's revenue?
Please,
I think you're counting only the advertising revenue.
Yes, advertising and sponsorship revenue.
I know you're not counting subscription because that's not separately declared.
True, and subscription in India, as you know, is like really a minute figure as compared to rest of the world.
You would be surprised. I think my estimate of Star's current subscription revenues is 6,000 crores a year. So
that's a huge number. Maybe that's something that's
I think on Star Sports alone, I think they do 1,200 crores a year in subscription, which I think they can double over the next 5 years. And given the very significant market share and cricket share they have, I agree with Amrit that I think there are ways to increase this. I think Star will make money on the TV side. I have no doubt about that. So the TV numbers are about 10% beyond the limit of what I would have considered rational. But 10% is not a big number for Star to make up. Your second question is, will they divest India TV rights?
Yes.
I don't think it's an automatic decision. I think they'll play it more cautiously when it comes to India home matches TV rights at the renewal time when the auction comes up. And they'll be prepared to lose it. So, the way I would define it is their 16,000 crore IPL bid was a bid to win. And very cleverly, they've only finished 3% ahead of some other parts. So it's a bid to win, but in a market sense, it was rational. I think their bid for the India cricket rights renewal will be a bid built around comprehensive rationality. If they manage to renew it, they'll be happy. If they don't manage to renew it, I don't think they're going to shed tears over it.
Interesting point. But this is the question that I asked Mr. Gavaskar, and this is the question that really concerns the Indian fan. I don't think he's too bothered about the kind of money that Star's making or not making on this thing, but Indian cricket being devalued, IPL going ahead of it, do you think that's the reality and the gulf is only going to increase?
No, I don't think that's a fair comment. It's not that Indian cricket is being devalued. IPL is part of Indian cricket.
Right.
So
no, in the sense, I'm just making a distinction between the men in blue and the ones then who wear the franchise colours.
I think it just reflects consumer choice and the choice of a fan and a spectator. That to him this is more attractive.
Okay.
So the people bidding for rights can monetize that in a better manner. So I just shows the market, the way the market is going. I think the more interesting part of the entire arrangement is the BCCI are now getting 2,000 crores a year.
Right.
Now, not 1 rupee of this 2,000 crores goes to the players. The players are paid by the franchises.
Correct. Yeah.
So tomorrow, somebody like Virat, who gets a 2 crore a year annual contract, or the top players, could ask for a share legitimately.
Yeah, but then the BCCI could say, I'm just playing the devil's advocate. They say that eventually the money comes to Indian cricket, and the player in turn gets it through contracts that they get then in terms of other benefits that are given to retired cricketers. Blah
Listen,
blah blah.
I think somebody like Virat, his earnings from the BCCI couldn't even be 10 crores. So if you're making a 2,000 crore profit from one tournament, I think the players have a right to ask for a bigger share. So, and secondly, if you look at the entire LODA recommendations, they've said 2 stakeholders are most important,
right.
The players and the fans. So if you are got these numbers as revenue, profits with you, how much are you going to allocate towards the fan in terms of facilities and infrastructure and looking after him, and how much of it goes to the players? These are questions which will come up, maybe not today but tomorrow, and these are legitimate questions.
Okay, let me get Harish's comment on that. Harish, do you see that happening? Because we're comparing IPL to the NBAs of the world and to the NFLs of the world, and where players there do demand their share of the pie. You've got managers looking into their interest. You see that happening with Indian cricket too, sooner rather than later, with this kind of money at play?
Well, let me not try and set the money cat amongst the player pigeons, but it's logical to assume that if the teams, the club owners, are the ones that are signing on players and paying them. So it's logical to assume that with larger wallets to spend, the team owners are going to maybe loosen the purse strings to secure better players, which means players will probably get more money. Now there are salary caps, etc. in the IPL. I'm not offhand familiar with what the plan for the salary caps is for the next 5 years. But assuming that the salary caps are increased, I see no reason why all these smart team owners won't loosen the purse strings, given the fact that there's larger intake of revenue, for them to spend some more money on acquiring better players, bigger players. And I think the polarization is what's going to happen. I think more money will flow to the star players, and about the same amount of money to those who don't have such a big audience draw despite good performances.
All right, Harish, thanks so much for joining us. Amrit, thanks so much for joining us too.